Hello from Costa Rica. In this video, I felt the call to share a little bit um, mm, another perspective on what is going on inside of us and outside of us, and maybe put it into like kind of a bigger picture that hopefully helps us to see things in a different way, from a different perspective, and that maybe is more empowering and more positive, and maybe gives a different understanding, and maybe helps us to navigate the circumstances um, with more ease and more grace and more joy. So basically, as a species and as a soul, we're undergoing a spiritual evolution. And as consciousness, we can embody ourselves in different densities, right? So there's lower densities and there's higher densities. And some call it also dimensions, but basically those are vibratory states. And the idea is that everything is vibration. Matter is vibration. And everything in the universe is a complexity of vibrational patterns, basically interacting with each other. And the third dimension is it's a little lower than the higher dimensions. There's beings and species that vibrate in a higher rate and a higher frequency, and they express themselves on the verge of being non-physical. So now we have this physical expression which is really dense, but everything we see basically is an interpretation of wave patterns of our brain and our senses that makes up our outside reality, and the thing that we can perceive with our senses, and that seems so solid. And basically the idea is right now that we're shifting from the third to the fifth dimension into the fourth density, fifth density, which means basically that we start to vibrate faster, and this is also affecting our consciousness. And the idea is that this kind of spiritual evolution or this awakening is triggered by the cosmos, by the galactic central sun, which is also basically emanating higher vibrations, plasma photonic light that affects our consciousness in a way. And the challenge right now is that we are shifting from a 3D paradigm to beyond 3D. And the 3D paradigm is very deterministic, it is very limited, it is very based on the idea of fear and separation and survival mode and limitation and control and manipulation. And it's a lower vibrational state, it's a very dense state of being and creating. And basically everything that is still present today in our society and in our systems, political, economical, sociological, like all those things are still like manifestations of this lower density, right? So based on fear, based on manipulation, based on limitation, based on control, based on survival, and all those things. Yeah, we wanted to experience it, but now we're cosmically triggered into an awakening, into an up-leveling, if you will. And now the thing is that those vibrations are clashing in a way, right? Because internally we feel something is wrong, and we see obviously, let's say not necessarily wrong, but out of alignment with our new truth that is coming in. And the idea is that the Earth has entered also the photon belt, which is kind of like an area in the cosmos that is bombarding the planet now with higher frequencies. And those are stirring up and shaking up everything that is out of alignment and that is not vibrating in that frequency. And this is where all the conflicts are coming in, right? Because the old system, they are vibrating at a certain frequency, and they are basically threatened right now. Everything is threatened. Everything three-dimensional is threatened. by this higher consciousness, by those higher vibrations. And those higher vibrations are also illuminating everything. It's always like, it's like this entrainment effect, like a higher vibration is entraining a lower vibration. So everything is being triggered right now into, you know, this purging that is happening because of the vibrational up-leveling, so to speak. And this causes a lot of chaos and confusion because we are so entrained and we are so used to the third dimensional way of being and thinking, even if it was not comfortable, not even natural, we were used to it, and it gave us this illusion of security, and we sort of navigated our way through it, and we were sort of okay with it. But now we cannot fool ourselves anymore, and now all the things that are out of alignment basically are surfacing, and we have to deal with them. But the thing is, and here comes the empowerment part of it, you know, vibration is everything, and everything is vibration. So with the shift out of the 3D and going beyond 3D, this also means we're becoming multidimensional. There's not just one timeline, there's not just one option, right? We're opening ourselves up to the metaphysics and the quantum theoretic understanding of our reality, which basically says that there's multiverses, there's an infinite amount of parallel realities, and there's no one fixed outcome. And it also says that what we perceive as our reality is basically, it's a mirror. Like, we're basically living in a quantum hologram that is made up of vibrations interacting with each other, and everything is vibration. Every thought is vibration, every emotion is vibration, every feeling, every word, every color, like everything we see is vibration, and it's interacting with each other. And if we manage, you know, to shift our vibration into a higher state, then we perceive a higher vibrational reality. And I've been working with this now for the last 10 years, like metaphysics, and working on myself, like basically becoming more aware of my thoughts and my beliefs, and trying to, you know, navigate my vibrations in a conscious way, which also means that I had to admit that everything in my life is my own creation. It's how I manage my vibration, it's how I navigate my thoughts, it's how I navigate my feelings, it's the deep beliefs that I carry about myself and the world that are then a vibrational reflection in the hologram. But I also opened myself up to the idea that there is not just one truth or just one reality. It shifts all the time, basically. In a way, we are constantly shifting through parallel realities, and we are not really realizing it until we make a vibrational shift within ourselves, and then we experience a different reality. And because of this higher vibrational energy coming in, time seems to speed up, because time is also just a construct of our consciousness. It's not like a solid thing out there. It's like a malleable, flexible thing that we can bend. And maybe you've experienced it. If you do something that you have a lot of resistance, seems to go really slow. And if you enjoy yourself, time is like speeding up like crazy. And in general, we have this speeding up right now, which is also making things more challenging, and then also the information flood coming in, and it can all be like really overwhelming. But the idea is then you can only go back to the present moment, because this is the only thing that ever really exists, and from here everything is being, your future is being created, right? So what you vibrate now is gonna determine what is coming next, and that's the cool thing. So that means that every moment you can choose new, right? So you can think like, okay, there's something outside of myself that I don't prefer, but the question is, how are you reacting to it, like vibrationally? And so from that perspective, you know, there is nothing really negative. There's only things that happen that show you, oh, this is what I don't prefer, right? So with everything surfacing on the world that seems negative and inhumane and all terrifying, those are actually invitations for us to see clearly that this is an option, but we don't have to choose, and we can choose differently. So it's basically like reinforcing our choice, and this is the whole mechanism in this polaristic reality where we have like both polarities, right? And we cannot deny one because the other could not exist. So it's about this unification, which is the challenge, like integrating and seeing that everything outside of us, of ourselves, is a reflection, basically. So whatever we see and judge that is going on outside of ourselves is basically we are projecting something that we have not integrated within ourselves, and we are projecting that and judging that, where it's actually showing us that it's still something that we haven't healed, or like that we have, suppressed or judged negatively, although it's a part of ourselves. So it wants to be healed, it wants to be integrated. And, and then once we really let that sink in, that this is actually happening, that we're actually shifting, and that we, you know, our consciousness is changing, and the way that our consciousness works and creates a reality is changing. This opens up a whole new world of possibilities. And this is where the new earth is coming in that many people are talking about, which is basically a higher vibrational version of earth that we are shifting into regardless, right? But the question is, are we aware of our power? Are we aware of that each person on this planet who is breathing right now is creating this reality, like collectively and individually? And then, we can realize, where are we focusing on? Are we focusing on what we prefer, and therefore reinforcing that vibrationally and strengthening that expression in the hologram? Or are we focusing on things that we don't prefer, right? So that is the question. Vibration is everything, and everything is vibration. And you can try it for yourself, like if you see a lot of things that you don't prefer in your reality, you might ask yourself, what are you focusing on? And try to shift the focus onto something more positive, on the things that you want to see more of. And I don't want to get into like conspiracies on why you don't see good things on the news, or it's obvious that there's certain energies and consciousnesses that want us as a collective in a lower frequency of fear and confusion and survival, all those things. But yeah, I mean, the information is out there, and we can now really realize the power that we really have. And over the years, we will probably see a new form of governance, and there will be no outside representatives. We're gonna take our sovereignty back, we take our power back, we become conscious creators, and we also open our hearts more and feel the connection of things, because ultimately this is what we are also realizing more and more, like the interconnectedness of things. And because of the degree of separation that was so strong in the third dimensional paradigm, we could create all those things that were harming ourselves and were harming nature. But as we progress, those things are no longer possible, because we are realizing that we would harm ourselves even, or like whatever we do for others, we do for ourselves, and whatever we do for the planet, we do for ourselves, because we are the planet and we are the other, and there's no real separation. So in general, those are really, really exciting times, right? I have my little doggy here. Say hi, Cocky. He's too low. But yeah, basically, those are really exciting times, because now it means we can create whatever we want, and there's no limit. And there's a lot of new energies coming in right now that are supporting us big time. The only thing is we have to be aware of them, and we need to be receptive, right? It's like a radio station. Like if you tuned into a jazz radio, you cannot hear the pop radio, but it's also there. It's just like on a different frequency. And so in order to perceive those higher frequencies, we need to raise our vibration. And, this happens if we are more present, and if we focus on the positive things, and if we do things that bring us joy and excitement, and this is the paradox also. From a vibrational perspective, activism is not really leading us anywhere because we are fighting something, we're putting our focus on something that we don't prefer and make it stronger. So we're ultimately fighting ourselves, and we're giving a lot of validation, vibrational approval to something that we don't prefer. But if you would just focus on something positive instead, for instance, your excitement, right? So basically, the good thing is that if we just do what we love and what excites us, then we're serving the most because we get into a higher vibration. And then this alone changes the reality. And then the more people who show that this is possible, and I think, I hope I'm a good example of that, because I only do what I love. And yeah, look where I ended up. And so I think it's working, this idea of acting on your excitement and being in a high vibration and doing what you love and what brings you joy, and you will be supported, and you will have a beautiful life and being an inspiration for others, right? So it's a very exciting time, very beautiful time, despite how it might look like, because it's a purging and everything, all those energies have to come to the surface, and there's going to be a lot more coming up. But maybe, with that perspective, knowing that we're going through this evolutionary shift and through this shift of consciousness, and that we're actually becoming an upgraded version, this is really exciting, and that we basically can create a new world where we create abundance for all, and where we live in harmony with nature, and where we don't have limited resources, in a sense that we don't exploit the planet, but we tap into higher versions, higher technologies that, if we are ready, will be available for us once we go beyond this idea of power over others, and of we need to protect ourselves and stuff. Like, once we are really up leveled into this higher octave of being, then all those beautiful technologies will emerge. And so it's a very exciting time to be alive right now. Challenging for sure, because we are in between those two worlds, right? We're in between the old and the new, and especially the mind was so active and in strategizing and controlling and planning, and now it's not working anymore. And so for the mind, it has to adapt as well. So we're with one step in the old world and with one step in the new world, and the more we allow ourselves to surrender and let go of all the dense and lower vibrational thought forms and beliefs and actions, the more we will see this new world emerging that is also already existing, because everything exists right now, and we just need to change our vibrational state, and then we will perceive another reality, because they're all existing at the same time. And in terms of vibrational matching, you create a different version of Earth that is representative of that state of vibration, different experience in the hologram, so to say. So yeah, I hope that this was a little bit helping you, to put things into perspective, to realize that you're like super powerful, and there's nothing outside of yourself that has any power over you, unless you believe that or you buy into that probability. And with that being said, also, there's infinite truths, because whatever you believe is a vibrational reality somewhere, and how, depending on how strong you believe it and how much you focus on it, you make it a reality. So if you see what the collective is still focused on, then we see what this creates, right? But it's nothing to blame. It's just something that everybody's on their own journey in their own tempo, and it's all kind of what the soul wants to experience, and you don't know what anybody else came here to experience. So we need to honor that, and we need to be compassionate with the tempo, especially. It's especially hard with friends and family, when we think we have a certain perspective and they don't share that, or we feel them suffering when they don't need to, and stuff like that. But yeah, we need to just honor and trust and give everybody the time that they need. That we cannot force that, and at the same time, it's happening super quickly anyway. Like with things speeding up, and they will speed up more, and there will be more people awaken, and yeah, so it goes in waves, right? And whenever we face like negative emotions or like heaviness and density, that's actually like a moment to celebrate, because that means that it's coming up and we're feeling it, and then it's gone, right? And then we feel like really elated and elevated and things are flowing, and then it comes up again because it comes in waves. There's like really waves of energy coming in, bringing all this to the surface. And I found the easiest way to navigate through it is, just feeling it and allowing it and not judging it from a higher spiritual perspective, thinking like, oh, I don't want to feel down. It feels so good to be like so high up and, you know, riding the high waves, but then I feel super depressed and disconnected and miserable. And it's just like that those things are still in there, and we suppressed them in the past. We didn't want to feel them, but now those energies, they just want to, be transmuted, and they want to be alchemized through the light that your presence is. So whenever you sit with something, when you're present and aware with your emotions, they can change. Um, so yeah, it's just happening in waves, and we can always be grateful for. And it's important that we take our time and space to really honor that, because in a way, that's the most important thing that we can do for ourselves and for the collective. Again, everything is connected. So whenever you take the time to either enjoy yourself or to feel your feelings, you're helping not just yourself but everybody around you, because with every moment of that, the vibration is raising, and this is good for everybody. So thank you so much for doing that, and yeah, beautiful journey, and much love. Thank you for watching and listening. If it resonates, beautiful. And yeah, see you in the next video. Much love. Bye bye.